Professor X here, accompanied by AJ, and this is our October 22nd Raw review. And how are you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How you doing?
Doing just fine, thank you. Let's just let's get into it here. Starting the show, you're going to have Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, obviously, how it unfolded is pretty interesting. But let's just say it right here. Roman Reigns starts his promo saying his whole thing as Roman Reigns has been a sham, and his real name is Joe. It's pretty crazy to me though, because he's breaking kayfabe, right? He's breaking the rules, the unwritten rules that nobody should be talking about their real names, right? And now he says that he's re-diagnosed with leukemia, and to me, it's like the first time we actually see him be like, I guess, heartfelt. And it is heartfelt because obviously, I wish him the best. I wish he, I don't wish no death on anybody, But yeah, it's crazy because it took until now for him to be passionate on the mic. How did you feel about that?
Talking about that segment in the beginning, I really did wish, like in the beginning, I was like, oh man, it's just a work, or it's not legit. And it's sad to say that it's true. I mean, like him or hate him, it just sucks for if that happened. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, man. It kind of did take a lot. It took kind of something realistic to kind of happen for not only his character to develop, but for everyone even to acknowledge him. So yeah, I agree with you.
It was kind of interesting though, because as soon as his music hit to start the show, the crowd booed him, and it was a pretty significant boo. But as soon as he said, hey, I'm coming back, this is not retirement, they started cheering for him, and it's kind of weird. I didn't understand. I get what the crowd was doing, but it's just kind of weird because either you didn't like him, but now you feel bad for him that he's sick, and now you want to cheer for him. Is that what is going to be labeled him as? Whenever he does come back, if he does come back, is he going to be labeled one of those comeback stories type of deal? When he's not, he doesn't need to have a comeback story, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think him, kind of, and even though this is an angle, it's a real angle. It's not something that's like, fake or anything like that. It actually could work to his advantage coming back. I do hope he makes a recovery and he comes back. But I think that when he does come back, it would actually, the crowd would actually be behind him. Kind of like, I would say to the degree where Daniel Bryan came back, recently. Kind of like that kind of thing. Maybe I might be saying a little too much, but I kind of foresee that kind of being the reaction of the crowd.
Well, I hope, he puts asses in seats, and we all know this. Yeah. I personally, don't, for the character of Roman Reigns, he's not over with me. I don't, my 2 cents is I just don't approve of the character because I don't believe of the character, But as Joe, as the person, obviously we all wish him the best, and hopefully he gets back in the ring. So let's just go and move on from there. But of course, he relinquished the title, and just like everybody else, you leave the title in the ring, and that's a good way. You don't need to have somebody else come out there and grab it from him. Vince or Triple H or any of these other cats didn't have to come out there and grab it from him or anything like that, like they did in the past too, like they did with Balor. Or with Seth, they didn't do it that way. But I'm glad he just left it in the ring. It makes it easier that way, and just moving on. Let him move on, and that way we can move on as well.
One last thing before you kind of move on to the next segment. I'm not sure if you knew this, but one of the things I heard and read is that when in the beginning of the show, a lot of the talent in WWE didn't really know what was going on. They didn't know that Roman was actually going to go out there and make that speech. People were still talking about it like right before Roman came in and did his, what he was saying. The Michael Cole, Corey Graves, they're just kind of spitting about, oh man, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's getting himself into. This is the big dog. And really, I don't think that the talent knew.
Now that you mention it, man, it did seem pretty crazy, though. I feel like Michael Cole did know because he is one of those higher officials, but it didn't seem like Corey knew because it looked like it struck Corey a lot more than it did even Renee or Cole. He took it personal. He wasn't even on like actually on the mic or live on mic for a little bit. There was like segments where or portions of that he didn't say anything, and I think he needed some time to gather himself. But as we saw later on in the night, in the WWE exclusive, after the show when they released it, all the talent that was coming there, to Gorilla, to tell him, hey, we wish you the best and all that. I think that's, yeah, I think a lot of people found out that way. I'm sure. Yeah, that's usually the way they do it. I don't see, unless you saw something in the ring, like nobody's going to think that you're going to be out of commission here, And I'm interested though, because he must have known something has been wrong with him, because you just don't come down with leukemia. Like, so I believe that something has to happen, or you have to feel something for that to happen. I mean, he had to have gotten tested, unless it was just a recent physical and something popped up and then they went into more testing. But it's kind of weird though, because something like this, people would be, or at least there would be buzz and reports that he's been going to the hospital for checks or something like that, But
yeah, well, WWE, a lot of the people in WWE, a lot of them keep their life private. So, it's something that I guess to them it's a common thing to, I'll get looked at, whatever it is. But yeah, it's just something I think tough overall. But yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and just push through here. So we have Balor versus Lashley. This is gonna be the first match of the night. And, I personally am liking Lashley as a heel a lot more. I don't really need him to be this smiling baby face and doing, playing to the crowd and being this happy-go-lucky guy. Whenever he was at Impact, he was never that type of guy. And he was holding multiple titles over there. Now, Impact's a whole different story. But same point, though. He was not being this happy-go-lucky guy and holding all those different titles. And Leo Rush, it's for me, it's giving him more of that arrogant, more of that just more of an asshole type of approach, that I'm that better than you type of mentality, and I like it. I like Leo Rush. I think he's a phenomenal talent too. I'm hoping that they do end up doing some type of tag team here and there, not all the time, but when we see Finn Balor, going against Lashley here. I wouldn't be surprised seeing something like that. Maybe having Finn Balor tag team with somebody else, another big cat, that can go against Lashley. Of course, a little while ago that Balor and Braun Strowman were actually tag teaming a little bit here and there. Braun Strowman's moving on; he's not going to do this mid card stuff, but it would be cool just to see Leo Rush do a program with Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley be involved in that in some other way as well.
Man, to be honest with you, with the Leo Rush moment, honestly, I really at first in the beginning, taking it back a couple more episodes of Raw, Leo Rush, man, I was kind of iffy about him, but man, like you just really grow to like the guy. He's very charismatic, he's very animated, and it's just even his voice really catches. So I really do enjoy Leo Rush's performance, and Bobby Lashley really he is a great talent. You already said his resume. It speaks for itself. It speaks volumes already of what he's capable of and his potential. But just the fact that you have Leo Rush in there kind of to, the hype man Leo Rush to really boast on Bobby Lashley's talent, it just really makes Bobby Lashley look more of a heel. And it makes him look more dominant. It really changes his entire image. And I think that with the heel turn, you're right. I see a lot more potential in him in the WWE than this whole babyface angle. And Finn Balor, lately he hasn't really had a lot of work with a lot of other talent, so I really hope and think that this feud with these two can really go the distance and can really build both of their character development.
Well, I'm actually really glad that it wasn't a squash match. Lashley didn't go out there just to completely obliterate Finn Balor, because you did a lot of work just to build up Balor, and yeah, maybe he hasn't been on screen that often lately, but he still has stock. And so I'm glad it wasn't for me at least. It wasn't a squash match, and Finn Balor, he was the first one so far that we've seen actually get out of Lashley's suplex that he does as a finisher. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but he got out of the suplex. He landed his good licks on Lashley, and it was good. I liked it.
You also got to look at Finn Balor's background too. He could definitely go the distance with the best of them. He first Universal Champion, so he can he can actually hold his own against, a lot of the top guys, regardless of maybe if he's, his size.
Yeah, but I think to me it's just a matter of storytelling and making it believable that this guy. I don't particularly care about the big man and the little man type of angle. However, in this instance, you can tell that there's a size difference here. So I just don't want a squash match or anything like that of that nature. But I like that they made him look strong. He got his moves in. And then ended up, trying to go with the coup de grace. You couldn't finish him off because you couldn't keep Lashley down long enough for a coup de grace. So that made sense. You can't go to that angle, to that finisher. And with Balor winning over with a small package roll up, and it's great. I like that. I like that finish. You're not going to do it all the time, but that's one of those finishes that you can do here and there just to get him some traction. To make you feel that, hey, this guy can get him anytime. It can be any Monday night he can get him.
Yeah, and I feel like we really only scratched the surface of how far this can go. If they really push it, I feel like this can really go the distance.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And so let's moving on. Like I said, this is next match we're going to see is Sasha Banks versus Ruby Riott. Now I don't know how you feel about Sasha or Ruby. Sasha to me is a little bit over pushed. I don't particularly. I feel like she kind of works dangerous to herself. She's safe with everybody else, obviously excluding that crazy incident that happened with Paige. But I think she's more of she's been dialing it back more. I know she just recently got back from an injury. With Ruby Riott, though, honestly, I think she needs to lose the extra baggage. She's so good as herself, by herself. She doesn't need these other girls with her. Maybe she's trying to build them up, to make that faction stronger and everything like that. But I don't know. That's me. I don't particularly like Ruby in this faction of the Riott Squad. Keep her by herself.
I heard about, kind of like the teams. It seems like, and maybe I'm not sure if you caught this or noticed it, but lately with all the NXT, Raw, SmackDown, it seems like a lot of the people are kind of turning to factions, teams. It's more like it's not really a singles kind of game, and that could be like we had talked about this a while back, like off recording, we were talking about how maybe they're kind of preparing for a future tag team kind of thing. So maybe that was something that they're kind of planning for. But I agree with you. I honestly think that Ruby, she's talented, man. She's definitely a good talent. She could hold her own, and she could definitely make it. She's definitely champion caliber in the women's division. It's just a matter of really giving her that opportunity. They kind of used her with the angle with Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey. They kind of were using them in that angle, but really, she can definitely get the title, Raw or SmackDown, really.
Yeah, I think at least for right now, her being on Raw, I just don't think she's going to get a taste of it. Not until these. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, and it doesn't need to. You don't need to rush her, but don't make her stale. Don't get her staled out either. Unfortunately, it's just you keep working the same people over and over. That could feel the same thing. I mean, we've seen that same thing with Bayley as well. She's a good talent, but she has the same thing. She kind of got staled out a little bit just because she was working the same, people over and over and over, and there wasn't really a story about it. It was just they were just doing it. They were just going out there doing the work. But I digress. Ruby gets that win. I was actually kind of surprised, but it's fine. I mean, I'd rather Ruby get the win over Sasha. Again, I like Ruby a lot more than I do Sasha Banks, so I'm fine with that finish. And moving on, though, we're going to have DX. DX comes out, DX's entrance and everything, it's just like you expect it to be. I do want to say, though, that I don't want DX to continue after Crown Jewel. It works right now because you have to have a faction versus a faction here, right? With the Brothers of Destruction, right? That's what they keep saying, and I get it. I personally, when DX first came out last week, or a couple weeks ago, I'm sorry, I didn't particularly be like, oh my gosh, wow. I didn't have a big pop about it. I'm like, DX, the last time we saw DX in the late 2000s, it really wasn't that good of a run. And so this is, this new DX going against, Taker and Kane. Okay, that's cool. I get it, what you're doing here. But again, I don't want it to continue after Crown Jewel. I don't know how you feel about that.
Honestly, with the DX, I kind of agree with you. I think more than anything else, it's more nostalgia. It's really, you kind of get the old feeling like, Generation X back in the day, or back in the early 2000s, back in the Attitude Era, times like that. And I think that more than anything else, that's really what the end goal is with that. You have The Undertaker and Kane, obviously the Brothers of Destruction with, that's also, nostalgia as well. So you're really having more of a very nostalgic match, a match that a lot of us who grew up watching WWF, WWE, really want to see. But to be honest, man, it just kind of seems like at this point, in a way, I could be using the wrong choice of words, but I feel like it's in a way starting to go stale. I think that once they, finish what they're doing, like you mentioned, just put it to bed and end it. Kind of like the Super Showdown, last match ever, just end it on a good note or a positive note, or one winner, one loser, and just leave it at that and move on. With the next generation, with what's going on.
And I hear what you're saying. I think it is time for Taker and Kane to move on. But with Triple H and Shawn, this is not going to be a one-off match for Shawn. Shawn's going to help polish some of these other younger cats, the newer generation that you were just saying. I mean, and that's what Triple H has been doing. He did that for Roman. He did that for Seth. I don't know what program he's going to end up doing here for WrestleMania, whether he's doing a program with one of the younger talents or if he goes, the distance with Batista. We don't know yet. But, the last few...
talking about nostalgia, I'm sorry to interrupt. When I'm talking about more like the factions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Triple H can definitely still, he still got some moves. I mean, he's one of the people, like, kind of, I know that in a way to get backtracking, but the match that Triple H had with Seth Rollins after he had that injured knee, you know that you can trust a guy like Triple H. You know that Triple H is such a talented wrestler that that you can trust him to not make those kind of mistakes that would injure, any wrestler. Because putting someone in that position is a very dangerous place to be. And the fact that he is capable of handling the match accordingly, I mean, that says a lot about him and his talent, regardless if he's, in his 20s or if he's in his late 40s or whatever. And even Shawn Michaels having a singles match maybe against X, Y, Z, whatever, I think having him also having a singles match too would also be well. I think just in this D-Generation X in general,
Yeah, exactly. D-Generation X, yeah, exactly. Yeah. D-Generation X, just let it be done after this one, and have Shawn do his, pay-per-views here and there, or, however way they want to go ahead and do it. But yeah, the whole DX, it's cool right now. Let it be done after Crown Jewel. And, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I thought it was just kind of funny, just a funny little thing here. And during Taker and Kane's video promo, when they interrupted, Shawn and Triple H, and they showed the tombstones. And I don't know if you saw this or not, but the tombstones literally said HHH. Or I'm sorry, it said Triple H. And I thought to myself, like, why would you spell Triple H? Like, why wouldn't you just say his whole name? Why would you just say Triple H? It's so stupid writing the word triple, on a tombstone. Who does that? But that's just me. Whatever, right? So now they cut over to just another update from Michael Cole, and saying about the vacant Universal title, and now it's going to be a one-on-one Brock versus Strowman. And a little bit later, we see what happens here with Kurt Angle and cutting his promo. But I tell you this, man, this whole thing, the one-on-one Brock and Strowman, I prefer Brock to win, but I don't want him to be gone so damn long. That's just me. But I do think, I wish they would have changed this and booked it a little bit differently. And this World Cup that they're doing here, this WWE World Cup tournament that's happening, I wish that would happen and let them, whoever the winner is of that whole thing, let them enter that main event of the Universal title. I mean, they're already gonna do those matches, the tournament there, they're going to finish before the main event, obviously. So let them do the 2 matches there, and then whoever wins can obviously do the World Cup tournament champion, and then go into the title picture right away. You know, it doesn't mean you have to win it, but at least you get into the title picture. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's me, but you know, I think that just Brock and Strowman, although yes, we've seen it before, you know, it doesn't give a fresh flavor to it.
Yeah, I think with what kind of rephrasing what you're saying, let the best of the world go get the title match, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what else are they going to do?
Yeah, that's actually a good angle.
Because
I thought about that.
What happened with Braun Strowman whenever they went over there and won the Greatest Royal Rumble? Did he get a title shot because of that? No. Nothing really came about that. It's not the same rules as what happens during the Royal Rumble. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, what's the point of this World Cup tournament? Excluding the fact that, you know, on the other side of the pond there, you know, soccer, football is a big deal. You know, so this World Cup, they're calling it that because that's in their minds, that's the big deal. You know, the World Cup to them it's a big deal. You know, it's what our Super Bowl is, our World Series is to them. That's the big deal. So a World Cup tournament, I get it. That's good. That's good promoting, you know, because to them on the other side of the pond there, it makes sense. I just don't see what is this going to lead to. You're going to rock around with a cup like the Godfather or something?
You know, honestly, with a match with Strowman and Lesnar, I mean, I personally think, you know, it's a good match. It's a good match to watch. I think it would be a good match to see. But honestly, there's a couple factors to me that I'm thinking. The first thing I'm thinking is the match that they had before with Brock Lesnar and actually, you know what? I don't even think Brock Lesnar and Strowman had a singles match, did they? No, they had a triple threat match. No, never mind. I retract that statement. But going to the point I'm trying to make is, Brock Lesnar's trying to go back into UFC. So if you got Brock Lesnar go back to UFC, you know that Brock Lesnar's only coming to Crown Jewel for the money. And that's really, what he's coming back for. So you kind of already know the outcome of the match. So to really throw in a wild card, whether it's the World Cup finalist or just, maybe throwing someone in there would, give a better, who's going to win. As opposed to if you have these two going against each other, realistically, you know who's going to win, although you might want Lesnar to win and be around more often. Realistically, who's going to be around? Who's actually really going to be, in the WWE?
No, I agree. I mean, that leads into that Paul Heyman promo. And obviously Paul Heyman, he bleeds promos too. Just like I said about Triple H last week, Paul Heyman, that's what he does, man. That's a hype man, and this guy doing his thing, laying out the accolades. He went out there and laid it down, and that's the way you need to do it. Get your point across, build up Brock, because I personally don't think we do know who's going to win that match. Well, Strowman could win, yes, but Brock winning also pushes the company forward as well. So I think it can go either way. So I'm good with either one of them winning. I just hope that if Brock does win, he'll at least show up a little bit more often. But we'll see what happens on that end. But with Strowman interrupting Paul Heyman, doing his thing, and then again, one thing with Strowman and cutting his promo, I understand what he was doing by saying, as soon as Roman comes back, he'll be first in line to get a title shot. I understand the sentiment behind it. I just don't think he should have really said it, because, it's let's keep character here. He doesn't really particularly care who comes for him. To him, anybody can get those hands and it's all good.
Realistically, real quick, to talk about Paul Heyman, you could tell that he was trying to keep his composure while he was making his speech. Also, you can kind of tell that he's in a way a bit cracking while he was making his speech, because he's sending his regards to Roman and everything, and that it's difficult for Paul Heyman. And I think really after the whole segment at the beginning of Raw, I think you know that the environment, the air changed immediately after that. So to really continue it, to try to keep that hype, it was tough for everybody. So I think that there was a bit of reality mixed in with the fantasy that we have, which is, the WWE.
Alternate reality. I don't want to say about fantasy. So let's go moving on here. The Elias. Now, Elias comes out, or he's already out there, right? Lately to me, Elias, we have not seen a lot of in-ring work. It's like, I don't know if they're trying to keep him off TV he keeps getting interrupted and he gets here and there, but I don't know. We just don't see much, distance matches with this guy. It's not really anything, 20, 30 minutes, like he was doing with KO or any of these cats, like where's the length of time of his matches? I want to see more Elias because this guy he's a stud. I don't see.
I agree.
And I don't know if this thing with Apollo, because Apollo interrupts him now and they get the match going. But I don't know if this thing with Apollo is a way of just jump-starting Elias again. I wish they kind of maybe put him with somebody else, but it's fine. Apollo, let's get him back on and see what happens here. See if they have some chemistry. But this whole match, Apollo was trying to get all his shit in, which is cool. I think it looks like he's a little bit out of practice though because he missed his shooting star press. All he did was hit him with some elbows on that press. I don't know if you noticed that. But he usually lands those and stick those pretty well. But Elias did a good job. He let Apollo get all his shit in, and when it was enough of Elias shining him up, there you go. Let's hit him with a finisher and get out the door.
I think that I'm actually glad that, they actually have some work for Elias, to be honest with you, because, man, Elias, like you said, he's a good talent, man. He's a good talent. He has a lot of potential, and even Apollo, man, he has the moves also. And I think it's just more of like I think it's really the same situation you had with Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley, where it's just, you have this talent. What can we do with this talent? And a lot of talent isn't really being used. And I think now we're finally starting to see some of the talent be used and polished and really kind of starting to shine a little bit. These segments are starting to be more, hey, you got Elias finally having some action, Finn Balor having some action, Bobby Lashley having some development, and I think that's really what's kind of making, making the show pop a little bit more now.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Now they cut away from this, and we see a promo. This is the end of the match, and now we see a promo with Kurt Angle, a video promo, and he is putting everyone over for this World Cup tournament. Okay. Now, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but I cannot seem to find what the format is of this tournament. It's not going to be one-on-ones all the way. Do you know if it's going to be, is it fatal four-ways? And then
honestly, I don't even know. I thought it was going to be, it seemed like a battle royal. Oh, no. If I'm not mistaken, I actually think it's tournament style, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it seems like it might be a lot, but I think that's what it might be. I could be wrong. Or it could be two fatal four-ways. But if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn I heard that it's tournament style. But don't quote me on that. But,
I feel like there's just too many matches for a lot of these cats, too many back-to-back. I literally thought it was going to be two fatal four-ways, and then the winners of those will be the champ. Because that's going to be a long tournament. I mean, I don't know. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess what? 5, 6 matches, 7 matches.
Yeah, it's a lot of matches. You're right. I mean, two fatal fours makes sense. That way, the two of each group can go ahead and
It's seven. That's 7 matches right there, just for that.
And honestly, I don't know how long the show is going to be for. To be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to be like I mentioned already 5 hours, or if it's going to be even less than that, or even the location. But that's all still to be determined.
I think 4 hours is plenty long enough for a show. If they start going to 5, I think that's you're burning out the crowd. It doesn't matter where the crowd is in the world. 5 hours is a long show.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that the segment that Kurt Angle did, to me, I think it really gave that whole World Cup image. I think it actually gave it a better story, and I honestly felt I was more invested with it after that segment.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, because it's Kurt Angle, right? So we're gonna listen to what he's saying. So I do agree with you. I'm interested to see, though, I mean, who is it that you think is going to actually go ahead and win that? I mean, do you have a favorite of that? Who's going to win?
Man, honestly, I mean, at first, I would think Kurt Angle, just because I feel like, he has a lot to prove, but then I kind of have a favorite. I have The Miz as my favorite. I honestly, his talent might not be there like maybe Kurt Angle's or Rey Mysterio's, but I just really think that, The Miz has a lot of mic skills, a lot of talent. I think that him being at the top again could change things up a little bit. Kurt Angle, he's already kind of been at the top. He's already done his whole streak, just like The Miz has, but I think The Miz can really take advantage of the opportunity better than Kurt Angle.
Honestly, to me, I don't know. In my opinion, I think that they're going to give that to Seth. Seth holding on to this Intercontinental title, and that's the workers' title, right? That guy puts in work, and we all know this. He does it every Monday night. And again, doing it, giving him this next match at Crown Jewel and having him win that too, that just further solidifies how much of a horse this guy is, I mean, this guy is not, because obviously a lot of these other cats, they don't need to win it, whether being, Rey Mysterio, John Cena. These cats don't need to win it. Seth doesn't need to win it necessarily either, but I think to me, he makes a logical choice to win it. Him or The Miz, I agree with you between him and The Miz, but I don't know. I feel like they'll give the nod to Seth.
I mean, I know that Seth definitely. I think he's already at the caliber. I think that bringing in some of this other talent, like when I mentioned The Miz or Kurt Angle, I think that bringing another talent in to bring him to the top, because Seth Rollins, he's always main event caliber, man. He can always jump in. He can always jump in and take the title, as far as whether it's Universal or WWE World title. So I don't really think he needs that extra bump. I think he can get there on his own. Someone else who maybe could use that little bit of push might have a better advantage over it, because Seth can still make it to the top.
Yeah, with or without it, I agree.
Yeah. And
now, moving on from this, now we have Elias again. Which I think is funny because, we don't usually see him back-to-back like this. So, anyways, we see Elias again. Now he's at the top of the stage, and Baron Corbin comes out to interrupt. And I don't know, is this going to be now Elias turning babyface now? Is he going to be moving away from heel, between this interaction that he had with Baron?
That's the first thing I thought of, too, actually, to be honest with you. I was thinking the same thing. Is this guy really making a babyface turn here? So, I mean... Or is it just maybe they're going to have two heels going at it, which I'm still fine with.
Yeah, I mean, we're fine with either one of them. They're both good talents, obviously. I mean, I'm high on Baron Corbin as well. I don't know. I personally like, the good versus evil type of show. Two heels, you can one up each other, but at the end of the whole thing, what's that really going to gain you? What is it all going to be about? What's the story going to be about? But at least to me, it does seem like he's going to start doing a babyface run here, especially coming out, because obviously Baron did kick him out of the stage, which walking off the stage, I was like, there's no way he's just going to walk out. He's going to come back and get him a good shot, and he did. He came back out, gave him a good guitar shot to the back.
That was a hit. That was a real hit, brother.
Now, I don't know if you remember this too, but the last time we seen, or one of the last times we've seen this guy, Baron. The last time we seen Elias do a shot like that, he did it to Jason Jordan, where he does not like squaring up that guitar on these people's bodies. He's doing it at an angle. I wouldn't be surprised if Baron Corbin has a huge damn welt because of the way he angled that guitar to his back. Next, we have Ronda and Bella contract signing. Now, I don't know. I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but I don't know if you noticed this, but Bella signed nothing. There was not even any ink to paper. He just kind of did the move, but there was no ink to paper.
I think it's horrible. I mean, a lot of the contract signings, already as well as I do. I mean, it's just really just to cut a promo before the match and
to build it up in the altercation between the two.
I mean, you saw Nikki
Yeah, agreed. I think that it was a good segment though, for Ronda just to keep getting her chops in, as far as on the mic. And she is getting more comfortable. I don't know if she's really rehearsing, what they're giving her, or if she's really making it her own. She just seems a lot more comfortable than what she originally started off with, so it's a good sign. With Bella, or these, both of the Bella twins or whatever you want to call them, I don't know. To me, they're not over. I get that they're over on the mainstream, on E, and everywhere else or whatever. I just don't think as talent-wise that they're over, and they don't do anything by themselves as far as, to make themselves stand out. The crop of women here will wipe the dust off of any of those any day of the week that you want to choose. Okay, so I think it's okay to have Bella and Ronda for this women's evolution, only because you have, yes, the diva versus the women, right? As far as division versus division. And I think it's moving on, right? That's the whole point, is that we're moving on. So I'm okay with this match. I do think Bella in general is irrelevant in today's WWE. Obviously the whole E network, and I get that, but as far as the actual product that we see, week in, week out, she's not relevant to it. So.
Yeah, honestly, I think that the whole segment really was just to, really get everyone hyped up for the match coming up. And Ronda took that sick hit. I mean, she took that slap to the face like a pro. She didn't flinch or anything like that when Nikki actually slapped her in the face. I mean, she really took the hit, took the whole full force of the hit. And, just the mind games that they play with each other, which honestly, for a second, I did think Ronda was actually going to go ahead and attack, or do something. But no, she kept her cool, kept her composure, and at the very end, man, just kind of like in a creepy way, she kind of was like smiling, laughing, then she got real serious, and I mean, it made Nikki scared, man. They were both scared.
And they should be, man. I wouldn't even mess with Ronda.
Right.
I mean, that's straight up, but. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's no way Bella would win this match coming up at Evolution. I just don't know. I just don't want Ronda to really sell for Bella, because I don't want her to sell it for Bella that much. I get it, do the job, get in there and do it, but don't make Ronda look too damn weak against one of these Bella women. Now, next, we have the main event with Seth and Ambrose versus Dolph and Drew McIntyre. Dolph and Drew, especially Drew, I mean, he's been getting more and more traction. And from everything that I've read and seen, the actual WWE officials are very high on Drew. So it's understandable. So this whole match between the two, I think it's cool that, kind of going back to Seth and Ambrose, I think it's cool that they came out in their Shield gear still, coming through the crowd like they normally would. You're still paying an homage to, like you did it with Shield with Roman. I just don't think that they should continue doing that, though, after tonight. Even though they are now the tag team champs, I still don't think they should continue coming out as the Shield, because they're not the Shield. Because now everybody's going to say, oh, 2/3 of the Shield, 2/3 of the Shield. And you shouldn't say it that way. You're either the Shield or you're not. And if you're not, then let's just say, Seth and Dean. Let's just keep it simple that way. But that's just me. So during this whole entire match, it was a good match. It was a solid match. There was portions of the match, though, that I don't know if you noticed it either, but, the ref didn't do anything to keep anybody outside the ring. All four guys were in there for multiple minutes, and maybe I'm a stickler for the classic tag team match, but one guy's in, one guy's out. We don't need to have all four of you guys in there the entire time. I'm all about. I get the high spots, and I enjoy those high spots. But we don't need to do it every Monday night and everything. But I digress from that. So we see this match happening and unfold, and we get Braun Strowman coming out and interrupting Drew McIntyre, we kind of passed over this earlier, but Drew McIntyre came out earlier and laid a pretty sweet Claymore kick to Braun Strowman, which I thought it was a sweet touch. He came out there, did the business, and left. So now we see Braun Strowman coming out here and wanting to give that receipt back to Drew McIntyre, right? And I think it was pretty cool. You know, they knocked out the ref, so that way this can be good and not end on a DQ or anything. And then we have Braun Strowman, you know, kicking out, you know, Drew McIntyre, getting him out to the backstage. You know, for me, I thought it was cool to do that, get him out of the way, and not let Drew McIntyre take the loss because you're still trying to build him up as that top guy.
All in all, I think the match itself, I mean, we can agree that it was an incredible match. I mean, I think it was a great match. It had a lot to say, had a lot of story. It had, you know, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and mixed emotions, you know, trying to dedicate the match to Roman. You have Drew McIntyre kind of trying to make a point to Braun Strowman and everyone in the WWE, make his own statement. Dolph Ziggler also was one half of the tag team champions, you know, also making a statement with Drew, but it just during the match, you know, like you said, it was kind of chaos. They were kind of going against each other, but they had some really sweet moves, man. They had Claymore kick. They had the
Falcon Arrow.
They had you know, obviously Braun Strowman coming in. When Braun Strowman came down and Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman went at it, they were going hard. They were hitting each other hard, and then they ended up I thought it was very fierce. And then when they ended up leaving the ring and going to the back, I thought that the way they were really going at it with each other, I felt like it was actually, in a way, two monsters going against each other. That Drew McIntyre was in the same caliber as Braun Strowman. That's how I felt, and I really, really hope that moving forward that these two guys can really, really work well together and make something really happen, you know, and bring Drew over the top to personally, hopefully, Universal Championship status.
Yeah, take him to the promised land.
You know, yeah, and then, you know, obviously finishing up the match, you know, you see, you know, you have the new tag team champions, and I mean, I think that everyone didn't expect the ending that it had. I mean, everyone was already thinking from the beginning of the show, everyone had the expectation that the Shield would triumph in the end for Roman, and I think that was, I mean, although it was unexpected, I think it was in a way very brilliant to completely cut off everybody off guard. I mean, even myself, I was shocked at the turnout.
Yeah, it did feel like it was a kind of quick trigger pull on that one. I thought they were still going to keep building it, you know, and maybe have this happen after Crown Jewel. I didn't think it was going to happen right away, like it did last night, especially after winning the titles. I didn't see that it was going to happen that fast. I mean, it is something that it was rumored, and we were going to see. Maybe it might happen or not. We don't know. And I think it was about time that Ambrose did this, though, because it's been years that we've been wanting to see this type of Ambrose, right? And I want to go back just a quick second, because Seth Rollins and Dolph were both in that match for probably 90% of the match. They were the ones in there, you know, doing the work. Those two cats are what you would maybe call like the gatekeepers, you know. Those guys are some serious workers, right? So with Dean Ambrose still fresh on coming back, him coming back and doing maybe, and hopefully, I don't know how far this is going to go, but if they do a program together, that's good programming right there. Ambrose and Seth being, you know, this guy works. I mean, there's nobody can keep up with his stamina. You know, this guy will stay in the ring for 2 hours, you know, giving everything, you know, and that's a good pairing. Put Ambrose in there, have him work a program with Seth, and that way they can just move on and keep building top guys. And so that wraps up the show. This is it for our review for October 22nd Raw. And AJ, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, sure, man. Anytime.
Professor X here. Class dismissed.